João Palhinha to Tottenham is now here. We go. Romano confirmed late last night that the deal is done for the Portuguese midfielder to join Spurs on a one-year loan. There is a buy option for, I believe, around 30 million. So we'll see whether we trigger that or not next summer, depending on his performances this season. But I'm really chuffed about this one. I'm really chuffed. I've been calling for this transfer since last summer, really. I think we've needed a proper out-and-out number 6 for a long time. There aren't many of them in the game right now, but they were available last summer, and Palhinha was one of them who was available last summer, and we didn't go in for him. And I think it cost us not having any cover for the centre-backs in the season. Obviously, Ange played with the two number 8s, and a lot of games inverted both full-backs. So when teams would catch us out and attack in transition, it would often be 3v2, sometimes 4v2, occasionally 5v2, because we just have the two centre-backs, because the full-backs couldn't make it back in time. So I think we've needed that number 6 for a long time, and we knew that we'd probably get one when Frank came in the door. Look at his Brentford team. Whether they set up with a back 5 or a back 4, they always have those two midfielders sat in front, the number 6 and the number 8. And you look at the role that Norgard took up at Brentford, I see it being very similar at Spurs. Is he the best number 6 on the planet? No, but is he a very solid option? Yes. Struggled a little bit at Bayern Munich, but he wasn't necessarily poor. He just didn't really get the minutes. And at Fulham, he was an absolute rock, sat in front of that defensive line. And what this guy brings is what we've lacked since Wanyama. A bit of muscle in the midfield, a bit of oomph about your team. You know what I mean? Because Wanyama really had that as a number 6 or a number 8, whichever role he was playing. And since then, we haven't had that. We've had good, decent technical players in those positions. Winks for a period of time, Skip for a period of time. Then we've had people such as Bissouma, Bentancur, workhorses, not so much Bissouma, but Bentancur. And we've just been lacking that out-and-out number 6, whose job it is to just sit in front of the defenders and mop up the ball. Just add that cover, and Palhinha can be that, as I say. He's got that presence. He's got that strength to just barge players off the ball. And as I say, Romero gives it some, but do we really have that many strong players? So many games last season and the season before, teams would just rough us up a little bit and we couldn't handle it. And it was our tactic for a period of time under Conte and Jose to do that, against the more technically skillful teams. Okay, they're going to try and tap it about you, play lovely football, rough them up a bit, get stuck in a bit. And the last couple of years, we haven't had players to do that. Now we have one. Romero likes to get stuck in pro occasionally, but now we've got a big, muscly number 6 who's going to bring that strength, bring that presence, who's going to mop up stuff in front of the back 4 or back 5. And yeah, I see this guy being a starter in pretty much every game next season. Who will play next to him? Well, I think Bissouma could be a lot better next to an out-and-out number 6. It looks like we're going to keep him. I would rather shift him off this summer and not give him another chance, but it looks like we will, so we may as well use him if he does somehow figure into Frank's plans. But I probably see it being Bentancur or Sarr. Probably Bentancur, because Sarr's a little bit more of a defensive option. So I see Sarr sort of being a backup, maybe number 6. I think he's been playing really well in pre-season. But Bentancur is the closest thing to that Janelt role, and I think Bentancur is probably the best box-to-box we've got. He'll be allowed to make more runs forward because we've got Palhinha there. And that's the thing as well, it gives attackers more freedom. Obviously, attackers will occasionally have to drop back and do defensive work, especially against your better teams in the Premier League and Champions League and in the Cups. But, they won't have to anywhere near as much as they have done in previous years because, okay, we've got Palhinha there who's always going to be in that position to cover. So we're not constantly going to have to see our attackers running forward, then backwards, like they're, rowing a flipping boat or something. So, yeah, I think this is a great signing. I think it really makes sense. 30 million as well, If he has a smashing season at Spurs, activate that next season. Oh, but he's getting a bit older. So, a lot of players now aren't hitting their prime at 26, 27. A lot of them are hitting their prime early 30s, sometimes mid-30s. I think the best of someone like a Benzema was mid-30s. So if he's smashing it, if he feels on top of his game and he does really well this season, there's no reason not to activate that release clause. And if he doesn't, we've got this season to plan for a long-term option. It's kicking the can down the road, but in a positive way. We've dealt with the number 6 role for now with a very solid option, and it gives us time to really scout out that long-term number 6. Because even if Palhinha, we sign him and he plays for us for 3-4 years, we still need that younger guy that we, want to have for like 8 to 10 years. Arsenal have signed it with Declan Rice. Chelsea have done it with Moises Caicedo. We're going to need to do that eventually, but I think this is kicking the can down the road actually in a positive way for Spurs, and I'm really, really chuffed about this signing. I really, really am. Smashed it at Fulham, struggled a little bit at Bayern, but didn't really get the minutes. When I did see him play for them, which wasn't often, I'm going to hold my hands up. I'm not going to pretend that I was, watching Bayern every game. But when I did see him, he looked pretty solid. And yeah, he's just that no-nonsense number 6. Doesn't do too much flashy stuff. You don't want him to. We've got other players to do that in the team. I said at the beginning of the window, the priorities need to be a new winger and a number 6. We've signed them. Okay? So already, in my opinion, it's a far better window than last summer, because last summer they were the priorities and we didn't get them in. Now I'm looking at another midfielder. I'm looking at that sort of number 8 role, because we were going to sign Gibbs White, we didn't. We still need someone like that, maybe a number 8, number 10. I'm looking at that left wing position, and then I'm looking at other positions once we sign, players in those positions. I'm thinking, can we strengthen on the goalkeeper? Can we strengthen on the striker? Are they top of the list? Are the players in those positions currently, Solanke and Vicario, poor? No. But can we get better than them and start moving up the table? Yes. So I think Palhinha, really good signing. Kudu's really good signing. The 2 players that we brought in, I'm really chuffed with. Obviously, last time Romano said, here we go, it didn't go all too well. But I don't know if Marinakis is going to get involved with this one. So he should be home and dry. In the words of Alan Partridge, back of the net. Fantastic signing for Spurs. Take care of yourselves, guys. I'm going to make like a banana and split. And as always and forever, come on, you Spurs.